Hello, we're here. Rest of Aquarimax Pets here with Arjun. Today we're going
Mhm.
to talk about Arjun's coconut crab.
Yep.
Pretty awesome. It was, I guess, a few months ago when I found out you had a hermit crab, and I'm not hermit crab, coconut crab, and said,
Mhm.
"Oh, would you be interested in coming on the show?" So
Yeah,
we've
I
been,
was very excited about that.
yeah, we've been looking forward to that for a long time. So
Mhm.
I
So,
apologize for the airplane flying over. Hopefully, you can't hear that too loudly. um, So, Arjun, would you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us what kinds of creatures you keep, and how you got interested in keeping coconut crab.
yeah, I keep all kinds of things like reptiles, amphibians, invertebrates. I keep monitor lizards, I keep snakes, I keep geckos, I keep venomous stuff, I keep a lot of different tarantulas, scorpions, centipedes, the whole thing. I have other crabs as well. And I really like big things. So, big monitors, big snakes, and then big crabs as well. And I watched a documentary a while ago about actually, it was about crazy ants on Christmas Island and how they are hurting the red crab population. And while I was watching that, I saw this one scene about this giant crab called the robber crab, and it would like occasionally pick off these red crabs and eat them. And I thought, I want that. That big behemoth of a crab. I don't know how I'm gonna get one, but I want one. And that then I just went down the wormhole of that. I learned that they ate Amelia Earhart, possibly, or her remains at least. And I was like, you know what? They've earned my respect. I need one.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, so, how long have you had your coconut crab?
So I got him summer of 2021. So
Okay,
yeah, it's been a minute since I got him. Yeah.
yeah, that
Hmm.
is cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Um, so, a little later, we're actually going to meet the crab.
Yes.
I would you like me to show like a video clip first?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay, and we can talk about this. So, can you tell us what's going on right here?
Yeah, so this is actually the first week he was home. I offered him all kinds of food, and he picked these shrimp, and so it's just him picking shrimp clean. He really loves shrimp and seafood, and oddly, other crustaceans as well. He's eaten king crab, he's eaten lobster, but shrimp seems to be one of his favorites. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, and I guess coconut crabs are pretty interested in a lot of different food
Oh yeah.
sources. So that actually relates to one of my Patreon questions. So
Hmm.
I'm going to pull up my Patreon questions, and so Crub Xavier has a few different questions.
Hmm.
One is, does he have a favorite food? So you mentioned shrimp is a favorite food. Is there something that's even better?
He, he absolutely loves shellfish because he eats the meat and the shell for the chitin and the calcium. So some of his favorite foods are shrimp, other crabs, lobster tail, scallops with the shell, and oysters with the shell. He loves to grind the shells as well.
Oh, so just rips right through those, huh?
Rips right through them. Really helps with his color and everything like that, and gives him some like enrichment as well to make him actually like work through what he's eating rather than just finding it.
Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of different textures you're dealing with, and a lot of effort that you have to go through.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't tell how much the airplane is interfering with hearing me. Is it hard to hear me when the airplane's going by?
No, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay,
We're good. Yeah.
it's really loud on this end, but I think my microphone is picking it down, so that's good. So um, another question from Crub Xavier. Does the crab like to climb around, or could he fall and get hurt? So I'm going to show
So
this slide of the enclosure while you tell us about that.
yes. So he does love to climb around. Unfortunately, he's also incredibly clumsy and he has frequent falls. Like I can hear him at night just go thump at the bottom of the enclosure, which is why his enclosure is very horizontally spaced and it's very deep as well. However, it's not super high where he could actually injure himself poorly. If you see that large piece of wood in between the two water dishes, he climbs on that. He'll occasionally climb on some of the branches that are in the enclosure as well. And that actually relates a little bit to what he eats as well. So just like my hermit crabs and my other crabs, I give him my sun conures old branches that she's pooped all over after it's kind of dried a little. So he will keep that clean as well.
So he goes after the bird droppings as well.
He goes after bird droppings as well.
Well, some good minerals in there. Why not? Let them go to good use. So we have a question from Theropod Hunter. Do we have to worry about coconut crabs considering their reputation? And I guess this means in terms of safety.
So I will say this: this is not a crab that you just this is not a crab that you will cuddle with or anything like that. They do have a really strong grip. He has gripped me once, and the bruise is like just recently finished healing. So this is not an animal that you would like play with. They can easily snap a finger, snap a bone, something like that. But in terms of you being attacked by a coconut crab, no, I don't think you'd ever be at risk of being attacked by one unless you were unfortunate enough to, be horribly injured among a lot of them.
Okay, so not in danger of, not life-threatening, but
not life-threatening. No,
could cause an injury.
Could cause a serious injury, but would not kill anyone.
Okay, cool. So Tennyson would like to know if they're being captive bred.
I'm actually not certain that they are. I don't think so, because they've only just recently started captive breeding hermit crabs, and this is just a hermit crab on a massive scale. So the enclosure you would need for that, the sea currents, the sea for that, I don't think. No.
That makes sense. There's a lot of effort that goes into captive breeding the much smaller hermit crab species, so that makes sense. So, what is the lifespan like for?
So these guys can actually live a very long time. I believe the person who sold them to me and the people I've talked to have said they can live anywhere from 20 years to possibly over 40 years, depending on the conditions they face and whether or not they're poached or predated upon.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is, again, like a crab. This is not a crab that you just get into lightly and expect to just it won't it'll probably live alongside you for a very long time.
Wow, that's fantastic. So a couple of people have asked this question or a related question. Can you walk a crab?
So yeah, I've seen the TikTok videos of the people walking their crabs, and yes, you technically can walk a crab. I just don't do it myself because first of all, he would not cooperate with a harness, and second of all, the crab really walks you. Once, if it's a coconut crab, if he climbed a tree or something, I would just be stuck there holding him. And there's a lot of risk that he might eat something off the floor, like toxins, trash, that I don't see the benefit of walking him. I will let him crawl around my floor though sometimes in preparation for when he's an adult. As an adult, obviously he can't have like a small aquarium or a bin. He'll need like a modified closet / room space. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so speaking about the enclosure size, Greg would like to know the size of the current enclosure and what you're looking at full term. I guess you kind of answered that. It's going to be at least a walk-in closet size, maybe a room.
Yeah. At the bare minimum, I'm going to go with at least an 8x4x4 enclosure for him to just crawl around in. That'll allow him to have like at least 3 feet of substrate to dig into. At the moment, he's in the equivalent of a 120-gallon tote, which has it's like 90% substrate and very little climbing. However, that's going to change as he ages and becomes more nimble. He just recently got his leg back, so his climbing will improve because of that. But yeah.
Cool. So how fast is your crab? Richard Big would like to know how fast.
So this crab actually has 2 speeds. He has sleeping mode and then he has aggressive mode. He is extremely fast when he's in aggressive mode, and it's not a walk or anything. He gallops, which is really cool. Like
Mm,
he gallop like a some tarantulas do that too. But when he's not in hunting mode or foraging mode, he's basically just sits in one spot.
okay.
Yeah,
But can actually gallop. That sounds crazy.
he can
That'd be
gallop, which is insane. I put live feeder bugs in there for him as well. They're both his cleanup crew and his food source as well. And if there's like a really fat, chunky one, he'll actually gallop after it.
Oh wow, that's
I
cool.
don't know if you can see them in here. Probably not.
I
But
think they're. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
I think it's this clip where you can see there's some crickets in there.
Yes, there are crickets in there. They help clean up his trash. He leaves very little trash, but they also are a favorite food of his, especially after they drown. So when they drown, I'll like scrape out their mushy bodies and just put it in a spot, and he'll pick at it.
Oh, so he likes it even more after that, huh?
He loves him even more after that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, how big is your crab now?
So he's actually still pretty small right now. Let's see if I can show him to you. Yeah, I've been held hostage like this for at least 30 minutes now. He's got my glove and my shirt very close to my belly button. But yeah, this is right now.
So, pretty hefty for a crab, but still nowhere
He,
near the adult size.
yeah, no, nowhere near. He's right now Krabby Patty sized. Eventually, he'll be so huge that it'll take more than one person to lift him. There's no way I could lift him as an adult.
Wow, that's going to be something. So, um, well, one question I was going to ask you too about the enclosure. We'll go back to the enclosure for a minute, and then we'll come back to see the crab in your lap. That's it's really cool just to see that you have a crab in your lap. Um, these water containers, do you do like some people do for hermit crabs, where you have a saltwater and a freshwater?
Yes. So the one with the air stone in it, that is the saltwater bath, and the one without the air stone in it is the freshwater bath.
Okay.
And these are just like with hermit crabs and my Halloween crabs as well. They're changed daily because he makes a huge mess in them. I don't know why. He just feels the need to, to push his shell, his wood, everything into one or the other bath. So
Okay.
by morning, guys, enjoy the picture. Enjoy that picture. It never looks that pristine the next day, the next hour.
Well, that seems to bring up seems to transition to this question really well. Ruben wants to know if the crab destroys enrichment like a bird, and it sounds like you just
Yeah.
answered that.
Yes, just demolishes enrichment. Sticks that are too small for him, he'll just snap in half. He'll fill his water bowls with all kinds of crud. The shells have to be changed frequently because he either eats them or he just breaks them. He used to live in a glass aquarium, a nice 75-gallon. He broke it with his claws. Like 2 days in, it was cracked. So now he lives in a tub where he cannot break it.
And that's when he was younger than he is now,
That's
right?
when he was younger and missing a leg. Yes.
Yeah. so, so Richard is asking about when the crab is most active.
He is most active around the hours of 2 to 4 a.m. Don't ask me how I know that. I don't get much sleep at all. But that is when he is most active.
Okay, so that's an interesting time slot there.
When I say Halloween crabs, do I mean no? So Halloween moon crabs are another species of land crab. Yes.
And if I recall correctly, the Halloween crabs are a true crab. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, they are a true crab.
Whereas Birgus, latro, the coconut crab, as well as the hermit crabs, are related to each other, but they're not true crabs.
Right. Correct.
And one interesting thing about coconut crabs,
Mm-hmm.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that when they are younger, they use
Mm-hmm.
shells, much like hermit crabs do, and then later they abandon it.
They do. Actually, if you go to the enclosure picture one more time, real quick.
Sure, yeah. Oh,
So
okay. There we
that kind of cloth hide,
go.
like
Let's see.
by the stick
Oh, here.
behind the top. He would actually wear that on his back a lot. Like he would just crawl around with that on his back until he didn't it. So
Oh, okay. The cloth hide in the top left.
yes, the one at the top left. He would use that
Okay.
as a little makeshift shell.
Ah, that's fun.
Yeah.
So they're not as particular as hermit crabs.
No,
They want something.
like snug.
So Random T has a question about coconut crabs, probably relating to the origin of the name coconut crabs. Do they eat coconuts?
Yes, he does eat coconuts. I do feed him coconut occasionally, but his favorite fruit is actually lychees and mangoes. So, yeah. Peeling a lychee is a lot easier for him than peeling a coconut, but he has done it,
He
which
has
is,
opened a coconut.
yeah,
Wow, that's pretty amazing because he's about the same size as a coconut.
he is, which is terrifying.
Yeah. Well, I can't blame him for liking lychees because they're amazing.
They're delicious.
Yeah. So, and mangoes.
Yeah,
Although I like coconuts too. If I had to choose, probably lychees would be pretty much top tier fruit.
indeed.
So does he make any noise other than his clumsiness bumping around? Does he make noise with his own body, like stridulating or anything?
He has stridulated at least twice. I've heard him stridulate, and I'm like, what is that? That can't be one of my frogs. That can't be one of my roaches. And then I look over to his enclosure, and it's him. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
What,
He
what does
makes
it sound like?
so it kind of sounds like a little. It's hard to explain. It's like this is like that, something like that.
Kind of a buzzy
Yeah,
sound?
kind of a fuzzy sound. And
Okay.
he makes a lot of splashes also. Graceful he is not.
So the beetle guy wants to know if he is wild caught.
Yes, unfortunately, all coconut crabs are wild caught, just like most hermit crabs.
Mhm. I know that just like we've made in the hobby, made strides in breeding uh, captive breeding of hermit crabs. I know of one person who has a pair and is interested in trying to captive breed them. So I don't. It hasn't happened yet, as far as I know, but at least people are working on
Yeah,
it. Okay. So theropod hunter. Oh, rambutan. Yeah, that's similar to lychee, and I've
yeah.
had those too, and they're awesome as well.
Rambutan's are good.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe we have a couple of people, both the beetle guy and Random T, have similar questions. So
They've seen the monitor, haven't they?
yeah, they have.
Yeah. All right. So yes, this is a little monitor in a tub, and this is my one of my museums.
Oh
My
yeah.
monitors, and I'm gonna get this question, even though it's kind of ridiculous. No, this is not his enclosure. He does not live in tubs. He is one of the special guests, other than the crabs that I have today, and he's just living his best life. Yeah, he has a
and
really big monitor in the basement with the other monitors. But
this
yeah,
is his temporary carrying container. Yeah.
yes, he's my cutest one, and he's gone.
Oh,
I'll find him later. It's cool.
which species is that?
So that's Varnus niloticus, the
Okay,
Nile monitor.
Nile
Yeah,
monitor, just a young one. Cool.
the young one, young little baby one.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
All right.
little dinosaur.
Yeah, I love monitors. They're amazing. I've never
Mm-hmm.
kept a monitor, but they I've met some really nice ones before. I met a nice Asian water monitor that was really
Guys,
friendly.
those guys are amazing.
Yeah, and that made me kind of fall in love with Asian water monitors because all it wanted me to do was scratch its belly.
Oh, that's so cute.
So, Ruben wants to know how many and what species of monitors or Varanus do you have?
Right. So, please forgive me. I'm horrible with scientific names and Latin, but I have two of the Niles. The bigger one is downstairs. I have a Savannah. I have a Asian water monitor, except he's really young. and I have a red Aki.
Cool. So
Yes.
several different species and size ranges there.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. For those of you who are not familiar with monitors, Aki monitors stay quite small,
They do. Yes.
but the other ones there can get pretty large.
They can get pretty big. Yes. Hmm.
Okay,
Now the
so
plus side is they all eat the same things that Eugene does for the most part, other than the fruit. So
yeah, that's true. So Aunt Cindy Skink has a question. Do you know many people that own these crabs and how popular are they?
so they're not popular pets, and I'm actually very glad that they're not popular pets because one of their biggest first of all, a lot of people will get the husbandry wrong because they won't be educated on how big these crabs get or how truly massive they get. These crabs are also becoming invasive in certain parts of the world. I do know one other person who owns coconut crabs, and we sometimes talk to each other. But yeah, other than that one other individual, I don't know anyone else who owns these.
That, yeah, pretty rare in captivity then.
I will say that in Japan, they're very popular pets in Japan, and
Oh,
they're
really?
also yeah pets and seafood.
Hmm. I knew I know someone when I lived in Hawaii. We didn't have those
Hmm.
there, but his wife was from the Tuamotus where they do have them
Hmm.
further south, and they do have rubber crabs and or
Hmm.
coconut crabs, and they are a common food item there.
Hmm. Yeah. So that's actually how a lot of these guys make it into the pet trade. They're too small to be food, like appropriate food.
So they come in with shipments that are intended to be eaten.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So, Random T wants to know um, if you're planning on keeping the coconut crab into adulthood.
If he survives into adulthood, absolutely yes. When I buy an animal, I'm in it for the long haul, till death.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So, Greg wanted to know if he's molted in your care yet.
Well, Greg, absolutely, he has molted in my care. He was a lot bigger actually. However, he was missing a leg. Now he has his leg back, but he's a little bit smaller. So I'm guessing what happened is the energy that would have gone into his size has now gone into regenerating the leg. So let's see if I can. Ouch! There we go. This is the leg. Wait, not that leg. This leg.
That's the one that he had
Uh,
lost.
this leg.
Okay.
Why?
And it looks perfectly good now. That's the lovely thing about arthropods.
All better. God, I
Yeah,
wish. Wish it could be us.
that is cool. So, the beetle
Oh,
guy wants to know how. Oh, go ahead.
oh, so I think there was a part two to Greg's question, the amount of substrate needed.
Oh, yes, I missed that. Yeah.
So for him, I have at least 2 to 3 feet of substrate. Basically, I go to the hardware store and I buy these two like 40-pound bags of topsoil, and then I mix a few other stuff in there, and that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, do they? My understanding of hermit crabs is
Hmm.
that they need quite a deep substrate and they need it to be dark. Is that also true
They
for the?
do. Yeah. A deep substrate, and it needs to be really dark. And this is actually one of the reasons I have stopped using darkling beetles as his cleanup crew because the superworms can actually reach him in his underground molting chamber,
Hmm.
and they will attempt to consume him. So I don't want to take that risk.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Let's see. So, are they pretty hardy creatures?
Um. So they are pretty hardy in terms of care. The only thing is the molting. You really need to make sure the molting chamber is perfect because even like one wrong, too much substrate, too little substrate, too dry substrate, and they will not make it.
That makes sense. Do
Yeah.
you, um, when you add things to the soil that you were talking about for the substrate mix, do you
Yes.
have to add things to help make it so that it will maintain the burrow?
Yes, so I use a combination of the potting soil, clay sand, and coconut coir as like the main base, and then I add things like chicken grit. Actually, I have a chicken, so I add chicken grit, and I add the oyster shells and some green sand actually to make
Oh,
it both able to hold the burrow and something he can pick at as well to eat.
makes sense, especially since during molting they need a lot of calcium.
Yes.
The molting process, that makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
So I think this one will be really easy to answer. Ida
Yes.
Levines has a question about eating meat or scavenging animal remains.
Yes. Absolutely, they do. In fact, people play them off as scavengers. I would argue that they're actually really good predators. So this guy has, other than the feeder insects he hunts, I feed him things like mice, chicks, different seafoods, different meats, and stuff like that. However, in the wild, they have been known to climb up trees and rip baby birds out of the nest for a protein-packed snack.
Mm. So maybe rather than call them scavengers, we should say they're opportunistic feeders.
Yes, they really are. They're a lot like hyenas that way. They
Yeah,
will hunt.
it doesn't have to be dead.
It doesn't have to. Oh yeah, so green sand is actually something I learned about from this channel called Crab Central Station, and it's just basically this edible sand with I think it's spirulina or something in it that crabs really love to pick at.
Okay.
Oh my God, he's getting dangerously close to my neck.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking that. That can't be very fun to have one of those
Oh, that was a mistake.
tarsal claws embed itself in your skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you come to the point where you need to move them around, feel free.
All right.
Before I ask that question, actually, Richard has a question about burrowing or seeking cover when he isn't molting.
So during the day, he does have a number of burrows that he likes to be in. Sorry, please don't leave the shot. Okay, anyway, he does have a number of burrows that he likes to retreat into during the day. He spends most of his day in the burrow. He only comes out at night to feed or to destroy his habitat or take a bath. But yes, when he molts, he goes deep underground. Like you will not see him for weeks.
Okay.
I think that his recent molt took him like a few months to finish.
Oh, so it's
I
down
thought
for quite a while.
yeah, I thought he was dead for the longest time. I was like, that's it, he's gone. Nope, he came back.
That's cool. So, can they be kept communally?
So, unlike other hermit crabs, which require you to keep them communally, these guys should not be kept communally because, like I said, one of his favorite foods is crabs. So, they will cannibalize each other, bully each other, and yeah,
Okay.
that's basically that.
So, solo coconut crabs.
Solo coconut crabs.
So, does your coconut crab have a name?
Yes, so this is Eugene, or Mr. Krabs, the coconut crab.
Eugene or Mr. Krabs. I like it. Yeah. So, yeah, theropod hunter, you got it. That's kind of like Arjun was just saying there,
Sum it up
like hyenas. Yeah.
like the hyenas of the coconut crab.
I don't know which video we showed. We showed one where it was eating. It's banana right here, right?
That's banana. There's a little bit of lobster in the front. He was more interested in the banana.
Okay, and then this one, it's eating a mouse.
Yes, so that mouse actually was for my gaboon viper, but he did not want it, so I gave it to her.
Okay.
Or no, I gave it to him. Sorry, Eugene is a boy.
Okay. So with is it similar to distinguish the sex of coconut crabs as it is for hermit crabs?
So that I'm actually not sure. I'm going off of what the seller told me that this was a boy. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So Joshua wants to know where one gets a coconut crab.
One does not get a coconut crab. These are very difficult to find, and they don't do well in captivity. It took me years to find just this one, and the person who sold them to me was like, "Don't tell people I gave this to you. Don't mention my name. Don't mention anything." I found it on an auction site on Facebook, actually. So
Okay. So availability 0 out of 5.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to go back to live video there. You can just see him hanging out on the back of the chair there. So, random tea. Yeah, Gaboon vipers are beautiful. They're absolutely.
They are gorgeous animals. Love them.
Yeah, they've got to be one of the most beautiful snakes all together. I mean,
They really are so pretty.
Amazing. So, you mentioned you have a few other surprise guests to show us.
So I do actually. Sorry, Eugene. So on the lines of my Gaboon viper, my female copperhead actually had a litter.
Oh wow!
Yesterday, so she had nine healthy babies. Uh-oh, don't bite your siblings. They're all together for the first like few hours so that they could all get away from her goo.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, they're all healthy. There's one in here with like a buggy eye. My friend told me to name him Pirate so he could be distinguished. Can you guys see them?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. I was so worried about her. I thought, oh my God, she hasn't eaten in weeks. What should I do? Should I take her to the vet? I was like palpating her abdomen safely. And I was feeling like this like lumpy thing. And I'm like, oh my God, is that snake cancer? I can't deal with this right now. Nope, just babies.
Just babies. Wow.
So cute.
So did you have to tube the snake in order to palpate it?
She's actually a very calm individual, so I just let her. I use my hook to readjust her head away from me, and I just lightly touched.
Wow.
Yes.
So we have another question about breeding the coconut crabs. If in a situation someday in the future, would you have to just separate them after the mating? Is that how that would work?
For safety, I would do that. Yes. I'm actually not an expert on coconut crab sexual dimorphism, so can you see him creeping up behind me?
He's what?
Can you see him creeping up behind me on the chair? Oh yeah, there he is. There he is.
There he is. Yeah, I can see just a couple of legs.
So yeah, I would separate them. The bigger of the two would probably try and eat the smaller one.
Okay. So how long until Eugene reaches full size?
So the only evidence I have is going off of the San Diego Zoo, who have managed to keep one into adulthood. It'll be a long time. It'll be like several years, possibly several decades, if he makes it that far. It took him almost a year to molt once.
Okay, so it's going to be a while.
It is going to be a while. Yes.
Wow, it's so interesting watching how he clings to the chair and seems perfectly comfortable doing it, as far as I can tell.
Oh, Eugene, come back. You'll notice I'm not using my hand, I'm using the glove. That's because I value my skin.
Yeah, that seems like a prudent choice.
Oh,
there we go.
I look like
I can see the whole crab.
Come into my lair. Hello, see my crab.
Oh, wow. That is cool.
Yes.
Right.
Sorry, I don't know if you can hear her, my bird screaming down there.
Oh, just very slightly. I don't hear a whole lot.
That's good. Yeah.
So what kind of birds do you keep?
So I only have two at the moment. I have my sun conure and my 1,000-flower bantam hen.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. I like the. Have I ever had the 1,000-flower? I don't think I've had a 1,000-flower. I've had. I think my cousin did. I keep chickens as well.
Oh, nice.
And they're fun.
Chickens are underrated. They're amazing.
They are a lot of fun. So Richard would like to know if you have a YouTube.
I do not have a YouTube. In fact, I just got my Instagram this year after multiple of my friends pressured me into making one. That's because between like the animal care and the what's it called, just living life in general, there isn't much time to edit a video for me or stuff like that. So
That makes sense. Yeah.
yeah,
Got a lot going on. I'm just keeping the creatures that you mentioned you have. That's going to take a lot of time. So
yeah,
that makes sense. But those of you who are interested in checking out the Instagram, it's down here on the bottom of the screen there.
yeah.
And it's been scrolling down there the whole time. So if you, any point in the video you want to find out, you want to find the Instagram, it's right there.
Hmm.
Easy to get to.
And it's not beautiful by any stretch of the imagination. It's literally just thrown together. So
That's something I kind of like about Instagram, though. You don't have to put a whole lot of thought into things. I just have random animal-based content, and I post it there. Whether it's I
yeah.
found a mantis at the train station, or
Mhm.
here are my isopods today. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's
I have not given him rubber ducky isopods yet. I've given it to a few of my other animals. I'm just terrified he will eat them all, and that's going to be so sad.
true. True. So, how visually oriented are these crabs? Do they use their vision a lot when they're
They,
interacting?
yes, they actually love using their vision. They're very fond of different bright colors, and they really like novel items. So I'll put some like treat balls in there, and he'll just look at them and just charge at them and try and take them apart and all
Mm,
kinds of things. So yes, they're very visually oriented. I
okay.
also love that his eyes are red.
Oh, that's cool. So, in the wild, it's pretty likely that they go after food items that they see before they sense in another way.
Yes.
Sounds like cool. Okay, looks like Eugene has disappeared again. He's hiding somewhere where we can't see him. He's just right behind your head. Oh, there he is.
Not my head. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. It's okay. You can hurt my chair. I'll just find another chair. There we go.
That is kind of fascinating, I gotta say. Oh, the Vividin's here.
Hello.
Oh, the Vividin is my son. So,
Oh, hey.
yeah. Welcome. And I bet you've never seen a coconut crab on my channel. So, theropod hunter, if their vision is similar to mantis shrimp have some really incredible vision. They are crustaceans, but I doubt they're quite the
I
same.
doubt it's, yeah, it's not at the same level, but yeah. I'm just waiting for him to prove me right and fall.
So, what has been Eugene's most impressive display of strength? You've mentioned some of them already. So,
Yeah, so I think the most shocking one, other than breaking that coconut, is he was in a 75-gallon glass tank and he shattered it the day he was in there. Like, it was a huge crack that just spidered out of control and he just touched the thing. So I was like, yep, glass is out of the question for this guy.
yeah, wow. Makes you wonder what, I mean, a plastic bin is flexible enough, you don't have to worry about that, but
Yeah.
makes you
So
wonder if you'd even have to worry about acrylic.
I have seen him actually pushing on the plastic, but
Mm-hmm.
it pushes him back. So we're all good. And usually he gives up and starts, I don't know, chasing something or kicking the ground. But
Okay.
yeah.
But he does try
Yeah, he
occasionally.
does try.
Well, it looks like the beetle guy has a play on
Yeah,
words for us.
really did. I had a whole different plan for him, and then it just went out the window with that one night.
Yeah, wow.
Buddy.
And a 75-gallon aquarium, that's not a cheap thing to
Nope.
have lost
Nope.
just one day after putting your creature in there. That's sad.
I should also mention my sister is severely, severely arachnophobic. So
Mm-hmm.
this is not a spider, but to her, this is a big spider, and she hates it.
I know what you mean. My wife is kind of like that with crabs. She's not overly fond of crabs because they remind her of spiders as well. So
Yeah.
even though she understands that they're different taxa and everything, she's just not into it. Oh, polycarbonate maybe.
That's actually a really good idea. I'll have to try that. I do have, I know it's not polycarbonate, but I have these two like 4 by 2 by 2 Zen habitats just chilling in my basement. I might set one up for him and just see how that goes.
Yeah, yeah, it could work because the I'm not sure what the material is for the windows
Mhm.
of the Zen habitats, but it's got to be more
Yeah,
flexible than glass, whatever it is.
yeah, definitely. Oh,
We just got a cartoon reaction to coconut crab as a pet.
yeah, I can see that reaction. I can picture it in my mind.
Me too. Oh, they are they are very very unique. It's really cool just seeing how it's that Eugene is just getting some interesting exercise, hanging out, rolling around that chair.
He's happily looking at my slings in the back and also the wet specimens, having a blast.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Well, does anybody else have some other questions? I see. Oh, Jen has a question here. Jen. So we kind
Well,
of talked about the deep substrates, but can you just
so
tell us
yeah,
a little bit about that?
I would ideally recommend at least 3 feet of substrate for a coconut crab. However, with his size right now, I'm feeling 2 feet, 1 foot less is fine. Definitely a 4 by 2 by 2 is absolutely, by no stretch of the imagination, a long term housing solution. Like I said, his adult enclosure will probably be an 8 by 4 by 4 walk in closet, or I'm looking at other buildings because I have a few other animals that are getting there, like my reticulated python, my Burmese python, the monitors. So yeah,
Okay.
temporarily.
So 4 by 2 by 2 at this size would be okay, but just not.
At this size, yes.
You have to upgrade as it
Yeah.
grows. That makes sense. So would you say this is a manageable critter?
This is not a manageable critter. This thing is a force of destruction. He needs an incredibly varied and expensive diet. And the amount of times I have to clean his water bowls once, at least once a day. And that's like fresh water and salt water. And
Hmm.
they're not like little bowls either. He needs to be able to fully submerge in them so that they're big. They're like 2 6 quart tubs. So
Yeah,
no, not manageable.
yeah. You're going through a lot of salt water too, which is
Yeah,
not
lots of salt water.
super cheap.
Might as well get an aquarium. Whichever the crab, get an aquarium.
Yeah. And when he grows up, you're gonna have to have like pond-sized things for him.
Yeah, definitely. At the very least, one of those like children's pools that like you can. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a lot of salt water.
Yep. Crab is like a toddler, yes, except this is a toddler who needs specific humidity and temperature. Otherwise, he will die.
And can pinch really hard.
And can pinch really hard. I don't think most toddlers can break your fingers with little to no effort.
Right.
And for us, that would be a horrible injury. For him, that's Monday. So, oh,
Yeah, yeah. Um, so do you use the same stuff to make salt water as you would in an aquarium, like a marine aquarium?
yes. So I use Instant Ocean, the salt mix. Yeah.
Unfortunately, you can buy that in bulk usually for not
Yes.
too
Yes, you
expensive.
can.
But it's still then you have to make it,
You have to
and
mix it. Yeah.
it takes time to mix it and everything.
That's it.
Okay, so at the beginning we talked a little bit about why you decided to get a crab specifically, but why did you get into reptiles and venomous reptiles and all that stuff?
Yeah. Okay. So this is going to be the origin story. But anyways, I was 7 years old when we got a box turtle, 3 tub box turtle, and I had the option of getting like any other animal versus that, and I picked the turtle. Still have him. He's great. And I was very much into Animal Planet when I was little. And I watched this one show called Fatal Attractions, where people would buy animals that eventually ended up killing them. And that's where I found my love for the Gaboon Viper and the Nile Monitor. So I told myself I will have those for sure in my life. Coconut crabs, actually. So I have hermit crabs as well. I have moon crabs. I have a purple tide devil crab, and I also had some river crabs. And coconut crabs just stuck out to me because I watched this one documentary called um, it's something about crazy ants in Christmas Island and how they are killing off the red crab population. So I was watching that documentary, and crabs are pretty or whatever. And then I see this massive behemoth of a crab just leap out from under a tree and grab one of these red crabs, crush it, and just drag it back into the depths of the underworld. And I was like, oh my god, this is a crab that is huge that lives on land. I want it.
Yeah.
When I learned that they possibly ate Amelia Earhart, I was like, yeah, no, respect. I respect that.
Yeah. They're amazing. So do you feel that Eugene recognizes you or responds to your presence?
So, as much as I'd love to say yes, this is still an arthropod, and they don't have that level of. They're not like octopi or even mantids, really. He's got kind of a basic brain. So he recognizes me as the person who drops stuff into his cage that he can eat. But does he know me as a person? No. Would he eat me if I had died in front of his enclosure? Yes, 100%.
Okay, makes sense. So Greg was going to ask a little bit more about the enclosure. So we talked about it a little bit, but we can go back just a
Yeah,
little
sure.
bit enclosure and talk about
So
that.
this is the enclosure overview. It comes with a shell shock. Even though he's not a hermit crab, he loves to hoard and play with shells. He'll eat them. He'll hide them in different locations. He has at least 6 caves in here. So one of the caves is this cotton thing, which he uses as a makeshift cave. He underneath this medicine basket, actually, he has 2 other caves. He has so this green one underneath that plank of wood is also a cave, and he has a few other caves hidden underneath the 2 water dishes. So the water dish with the air stone in it, that is his saltwater bath, where he soaks his gills, and then this is his freshwater bath where he drinks. I found that random piece of wood on the beach and I loved it, so I gave it to him. And he loves chewing on it and stuff. And the sticks are just random sticks. So after my sun conure finishes completely defiling one of her sticks with poop, I will wait for the poop to dry, take it from her, replace her stick, and give it to him, and he'll pick it clean.
Cool. And then the substrate under there is what you
The
described.
substrate
About
under there, yes, yeah. So as a refresher, it is organic topsoil with 40 pound, so 2 40-pound bags of that, some green sand, some regular play sand, and a little bit of the calcium sprinkled in.
cool. Excellent. So, do they ever crush shells to eat it for calcium?
Yes, they do. So he crushes those shells, and he really loves eating oysters and scallops with the shell on, because not only can he eat the soft, mushy bit, he actually chews on the shell, and it gives him extra enrichment. He can just, different textures, work his claws, that sort of thing.
Yeah, very cool.
And I will be right back.
Okay.
I have noticed he's not on the chair.
Oh,
So just
that's cool. Okay. So,
shoot.
back to me for the moment while Arjun finds out where Eugene is hanging out. A very adventurous little crab. So, we're about to find out um, where Eugene crawled to. Yeah, a giant cleanup crew organism. Yeah. So, oh yeah. So at least they've got an Instagram channel, but not YouTube at the moment. But
Found him.
all right.
There we go.
So where was he hanging out?
He was behind the chair.
Oh, okay. So Jen says that if you started a YouTube channel with Eugene, then Jen would watch you two all the time.
Aw, that's so sweet. I'll consider it. Yeah.
So, do you live anywhere near the ocean? Beetle guy is asking.
Far, far away from the ocean.
Okay.
No ocean in sight.
So you have to getting any ocean-based treats or anything like that is a pretty complicated endeavor.
Yeah. I mostly get his food from like, the farmers market, Whole Foods, or, places like that.
Mhm.
I did find one food company though that sells like exotic meats called Wild Fork. And, I buy like a bunch of random exotic meats for my other lizards and stuff, like ground ostrich. He loves ostrich meat.
Oh, interesting.
Stuff like that.
So that helps to vary his diet, just like it does for your
Yes.
reptiles and so
Someone says Eugene was looking for money. Well, he won't find any. All of it is gone, and he's the reason why.
on.
You should have thought about that.
Yeah, yeah. I guess they get, like you were saying, in terms of enclosure space, in terms of their very varied diet,
Yes.
and the fact that they consume a lot of resources. Not a
Yes.
pet at all.
Not a good no. Combined with the fact that this is highly unusual, like that he's letting me hold him and stuff like this. This is not. I don't know why he's being so well behaved today, aside from holding me hostage on this chair. But yeah, this is not the reality.
Hmm. Maybe he's just got a little bit of stage fright or something.
Yeah, I hope that's the case.
Oh, it's funny. Oh, there's a question. Would he like the different species of dried seaweed? Have you tried that?
He absolutely loves every single type of dried seaweed and kelp I have offered him. He loves eating it. And oddly enough, he likes to also use it as like nesting material, so he'll take it with him to his burrow and just not eat it sometimes.
Hmm, that's fascinating. So it is possible that in the wild they line their nests with things like seaweed or other things that they make.
Soft, fluffy things.
Oh, wow, that is interesting. I didn't even consider that as a factor, but that could be a really interesting form of enrichment. Just experiment what
Yeah,
they line their burrows with.
pushy things.
That's cool. So, is there anything you've offered him that he doesn't like to eat?
Anything I've offered him that he doesn't like, fish flakes.
Doesn't
He
like fish flakes.
he can't stand them. Like he will not touch them.
Interesting. So
I
many other
don't know
creatures to go after
why.
it.
I've tried different brands. I'm like, you know what? The feeder fish I breed for my animals, they eat things like omega 1 and stuff like. Nope, will not touch it.
Hmm.
The only reason I know it's being eaten is because I see the crickets eating it, and then he's just hovering behind them, waiting for them to be distracted.
So he can grab the
He
crickets
can grab them
when they're gut loaded. He's waiting for
when
them.
they're gut loaded. Yes,
Doesn't mind if it's in their gut.
yes.
Oh, have you ever witnessed him looking at himself in the mirror?
I have been too afraid to put a mirror near him because he might try and shatter it. But that is an interesting experiment that I can consider doing.
Yeah, just have to be a shatterproof mirror, I guess.
Exactly. Yes, it's made out of diamond, like a Minecraft mirror, if they have those in Minecraft.
Oh, there's something. There's some of the fish flakes do have some preservatives, like I think
Yeah,
it's ethoxyquin. Is one of
yeah,
them
yeah. That's
that
one of them.
can be bad for crustaceans. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. So I guess for this question, we've kind of gone through most of the care, and it is kind of like a giant hermit crab. You
Yes.
just have to keep in mind that
Mhm.
um, they are a lot more destructive than the largest hermit crab.
They're a lot bigger, a lot more destructive, can actually hurt you, unlike a hermit. I mean, a hermit crab can hurt you. I've been pinched badly by some of mine. Nothing compared to this.
Right,
This will take a finger if it gets a good enough grip.
right, and I guess the one of the main differences is once they get old enough, they
Mhm.
don't need a shell like a hermit crab does.
No, they don't.
Okay. So Ruben was wondering about copper in the substrate. Do you have to be concerned about that?
No. The brand of topsoil I use actually it doesn't have copper. So I called the manufacturer and I was like, "What minerals and stuff are in there?" I said, I don't like copper, it's toxic. I've had hermit crabs eat the soil, so I'm like, no, it's fine.
Cool. And that is one nice thing about soil composition. Generally, the company will provide very detailed analyses for you
Yes.
about what's in it.
Yeah.
So that's helpful. You generally have to contact them to get the detailed analysis, but you can do it.
Yes.
Yeah, and Jen, we talked about this one a little earlier. There was
Yeah.
up to 40 years, you were saying?
Up to 40 years. That's what the person I got him from was telling me.
That is
It's
quite
insane.
a creature, yeah. There aren't too many arthropods that get that long. There are some, but not very many.
Yeah.
There's some tarantulas that can live that long. And
Yeah. I'm really hoping like both my bird eaters make at least 10 years.
yeah. There's I remember some of the more common pet hermit crabs can live quite a long time. I talked to online, communicated with a woman who had, and this was years ago when hermit crab care wasn't as advanced and they weren't doing captive breeding or anything back then, but she had hers for over 25 years at the time.
Yeah, that's insane. That's actually so cool. I'm glad that they live, that she could experience having one that long. She's doing really well with hers.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that is the one that I'm talking about. It is Jonathan Livingston, the hermit crab.
Yeah.
It was Carol of Crabworks. And this was decades ago when I communicated with her about it. I think I was emailing her back and forth, and she was telling me about her hermit crabs. So this was like 25 years ago, something like that. Not 25, but between 20 and 25 years ago. And she had already had it. Even then, when we didn't know much about hermit crab care, she had hers for decades already.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you could do almost double that with one of these coconut crabs, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and basically,
see?
What was that?
No, yeah, see, the beetle guy, he says, I know someone who had a hermit crab over 30 years. Definitely possible. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. And I hope someday that they'll figure out how to breed these guys, and we'll have those.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
But the first step in that is making sure that we know their husbandry really solidly, and
yeah,
are able to keep them alive long term.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the main cons I found to keeping one of these, aside from everything else, is just, if you have a question or something's not going the way you think it is, there's very few people you can reach out to and be like, hey, this is a thing that's happening. Is this normal?
Yeah, there's not a community that you can contact, and like there are so many other arthropods, like with tarantulas or mantises or something. You can have people. Yeah, I've kept them for 20 years, and I can give you some ideas about what may be going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even hermit crabs these days, you can do the same thing. But you're kind of a pioneer in the coconut crab world. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, do you have, in our last minute or so, do you have anything you'd like to add that we haven't covered yet?
Well, I'm very happy that Eugene was well behaved for this video and could meet all of you people and, be on the channel. I was really hoping this wouldn't just be a bunch of clips of him and then me saying, no, I swear I have one. It's around. But yeah, no, other than that, it was very nice talking with you guys.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on the show. It's very unique to have an experience like this. So we appreciate it. We appreciate you coming on and sharing your experiences with us, and also Eugene coming on and being so tractable today.
Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah. And maybe sometime we could have you on the stream again to talk about some of your other creatures too.
That would be great. I'd love that.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, thanks again, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you. You as well. Bye, guys.
See you later.